Jane Goodall's most iconic quotes on hope making a difference. Dr. Jane Goodall passed away at the age of 91. Dr. Goodall's discoveries as an ethologist revolutionized science, and she was a tireless advocate for the protection and restoration of our natural world, said a statement from the Jane Goodall Institute. She was in California as a part of her speaking tour. Goodall was one of the world's most celebrated primatologists and conservationists. Born in London, England, in 1965, Goodall was fascinated by animals from a young age. She began her groundbreaking research on chimpanzees in Tanzania's Gombe National Park in 1960. Over the course of her six-decade career, Goodall worked tirelessly to protect chimpanzees and their habitats. In 2002, she founded the Jane Goodall Institute, which supports chimpanzee conservation efforts around the world.
Goodall's work inspired people of all ages to appreciate and respect animals and our natural environment.
We also recommend her site as one of the best places to find good news on the internet. At Good. We've always been drawn to Jane Goodall's relentless pursuit of hope and her passion for inspiring young people to make a difference. As we honor her life today and every day, let's learn from her wisdom. Here are our favorite Jane Goodall quotes to leave you inspired to make a difference for animals, earth, and people. Column famous inspirational quotes from Dr.
Jane Goodall. I do have reasons for hope, our clever brains, the resilience of nature, the indomitable human spirit, and above all, the commitment of young people when they are empowered to take action.
Jane Goodall quote for the centerfold poster inside the Animals edition of the Good Newspaper, illustration by Megan Burns for the Good Newspaper. You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. Jane Goodall. The greatest danger to our future is apathy. Jane Goodall. I think empathy is really important, and I think only when our clever brain and our human heart work together in harmony can we achieve our full potential. Jane Goodall. Let us try to replace violence and intolerance with understanding and compassion
and love.
Jane Goodall. If only we can overcome cruelty, human and animal, with love and compassion, we shall stand at the threshold of a new era in human moral and spiritual evolution and realize at last our most unique quality, humanity. Jane Goodall. Let us not forget that human love and compassion are equally deeply rooted in our primate heritage.
Jane Goodall. We have so far to go to realize our human potential for compassion, altruism, and love. Jane Goodall on hope. Hope is often misunderstood.
People tend to think that it is simply passive wishful thinking. I hope something will happen, but I'm not going to do anything about it. This is indeed the opposite of real hope, which requires action and engagement. Jane Goodall, the Book of Hope, a survival guide for trying times. There is still so much in the world worth fighting for, so much that is beautiful, so many wonderful people working to reverse the harm, to help alleviate the suffering, and so many young people dedicated to making this a better world.
All conspiring to inspire us and to give us hope that it is not too late to turn things around if we all do our parts.
Jane Goodall in her New Year's message for 2018, hope does not deny the evil, but is a response to it. Jane Goodall, the Book of Hope, a survival guide for trying times. In all my lectures and books, I focus on reasons for hope. But today it's getting harder and harder to take the message of hope around the world. Today's young people everywhere I got there, so excited and empowered.
We're listening to their voices.
That gives us a reason to hope. Jane Goodall in New Era of Discovery in Gone. Thanks to Disney Family Trust related. Read this curated collection of quotes about hope and another on optimism and the difference between them. On making a difference, what you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make.
Jane Goodall. There is a powerful force unleashed when young people resolve to make a change.
Jane Goodall. Only if we understand will we care. Only if we care will we help.
Only if we help shall all be saved.
Jane Goodall, as quoted in the Becoming Jane challenge. Change happens by listening and then starting a dialogue with the people who are doing something you don't believe is right. Jane Goodall. Lasting change is a series of compromises,
and compromise is all right as long as your values don't change.
Jane Goodall. Each one of us must take responsibility for our own lives and, above all, show respect and love for living things around us, especially each other's. Jane Goodall. Every individual matters. Every individual has a role to play. Every individual makes a difference. Jane Goodall. We have the choice to use the gift of our life to make the world a better place or not to bother. Jane Goodall. My job is to collect stories of hope because there's so much going on that's awful. Animals becoming extinct, forests disappearing, people suffering tremendously. If this is the only aspect that gets out to the general public, they think there's not much we can do and they do nothing. And so these stories that show what can be done, I think, are tremendously important. Jane Goodall in an interview with Ecosia, but consumers, at least if they are not living in poverty, have an enormous role to play too. If you don't like the way the business does its business, don't buy the products. This is beginning to create change. People should think about the consequences of the little choices they make each day.
Jane Goodall, in an interview in the New York Times, young people, when they understand the problems, are empowered to take action.
When we listen to their voices, they actually are changing the world and making it better for people, for animals, and for the environment, because everything is.